Better late than never, I have to say, starting this episode, because it was actually due 11 days ago. The thing is, after we recorded this episode, a couple of things happened in my personal life that I had to attend to and were a little bit time consuming. So I wasn't able to edit this episode earlier. Anyways, I hope that you will enjoy this episode, especially because it's our first anniversary, which makes me even more sad that I could not publish it last week on February 20th, which would have been the day of the anniversary. So I decided to make this episode a little bit easygoing, and it might be lighter than you are used to, but also because of that, probably a little bit longer. I hope that's okay with you. After some small talk, we have some announcements, and following that, we are talking about the anniversary and how the podcast is going, and then, after a short break, we will talk about science and trust in science in Germany, Sweden, and Switzerland. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. How are you doing, Bart?
Quite tired. It's quite late, and I spent all day long writing grants to figure out that I should have written less.
Oh, well, cutting it shorter is usually... Well, no, actually, that's a lot of work.
Thanks.
Yeah, I
You're a
remember
real
this.
friend.
You remember this famous saying, I apologize for the length of the letter. I didn't have time to write a shorter one. Yeah. That reminds me that I had my first editing job this week.
Did you
Finally.
shorten it?
I did shorten the stuff, yes. Among other things. You know, language, grammar.
Did you make a shitload of
Punctuation.
money?
Well, it was good. Sufficient. No, I'm okay. It
I
was...
think we all should congratulate Dennis on Twitter for his first real earned money.
Yeah, absolutely. First time in my life.
Taxpayers
man.
of Portugal are rejoicing at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also writing my first industry resume because I'm applying for a job. And that's new. I didn't know that writing a one-page resume can take 2 days.
Yeah, you know this famous saying about longer and shorter letters.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes back to haunt you, I guess.
Okay, so, yeah. There was something that I forgot to write into our script that I wanted to note, and I need to look at my calendar for that, because I will be on the Recovering Academic Twitter rotating curation account.
How does rotating curation accounts work, actually?
So what you do... So basically, a Twitter rotating curation account is an account that has some sort of topic, and then you invite a different curator every week or so, and then they will tweet for a week on whatever they do that has to do with the topic. For example, we have the Science for Progress rotating curation account. And there we have people who would tweet about open science, science communication, and these kind of things. And the rotating curation account from Recovering Academic, that's a podcast that we actually had a crossover show with.
So, SFP Roku is not the same account as Science for Progress.
Exactly,
This is
we separated those, and that account actually went online last year in March, so it's almost a year.
Yay, anniversary!
Coming up. But the podcast has an anniversary right now. First episode went online February 20th last year. So this is basically our anniversary episode.
Hooray!
Yay!
Did you buy me a present for our anniversary?
Okay, so, but what I was going to
Dear
say...
listener, this sounded if he has forgotten our anniversary and he didn't buy me anything. That's
Well,
sad.
it's not your anniversary.
Yeah.
It's my anniversary, just to make this clear.
Thanks a lot.
Well, I'm happy to share. Anyway, so we have a rotating curation account, and the Recovering Academic podcast also has a rotating curation account, and I will take that over February 25th to March 2nd. So if you're interested to see what I would be tweeting about on that account, which is probably mostly about my transition out of academia and what I've done since, because that's the topic of Recovering Academics. And the account is called @RecoveringACAD. So it's recovering and then academic shortened to ACAD. Yeah, so you should follow that. And the day after March, so on March 3rd, I will do an appearance on Instagram. And there is the Addictive Brain is the name of the
What
science
is an
communication
appearance
thing.
on Instagram?
Huh? An appearance on Instagram is that I'm going to do a live video. So I will be there and appear on video. So you can talk to me live and ask me questions. And again, I will be talking about
it's like this situation only on Instagram.
It's like what?
It's like this situation just on Instagram?
Yeah, and with more than one person and with nobody, it's not a podcast recording. So it's not really like right now, right? So I will be the only person speaking, right? There's nobody speaking. People can text me their questions or just say, hey, hi. And yeah. So that will be for an hour on March 3rd. You would have to follow the Addictive Brain to figure out at what time it is. I think it's a time that's chosen to be so that Australians can actually attend. So Bart is making stupid faces. I don't know really why. I'm trying to be serious here and make announcements about my appearances in future things, science communication things. And he's making funny faces.
I'm very sorry. I didn't know how serious this was for you.
I feel very much not taken serious in my in my commitment to these kind of things. So, talking about the anniversary. So this is the episode 20. We did 20 episodes.
Did you hear that?
Huh?
I
didn't hear what you say. If you always talk when I'm talking, I don't hear what you're saying, so I can ignore it. That's fantastic. Okay, so
he said it's his podcast.
It's my podcast. It was for most episodes, right? I mean, when did you jump in November?
And he had no present for me.
Jesus.
No present.
No, you didn't give me a present.
That's not the way it's supposed to be.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Anyhow, so we did 20 episodes since the podcast was launched. And that's because in the beginning, for the first 10 episodes or so, I only did an episode every 3 weeks. Then we had the summer break where Bart and I met in Australia and recorded episode number 8 about cognitive biases. And then since November, we are doing this talk once a month. So there's an episode every other week now. One is this talk show and one is an interview. And I'm really happy about that. I enjoy this a lot.
Not enough for present.
Oh well, so, and I hope you can hear the improvement in production quality over time. If not, send me a message if there are any concerns. Yeah, it's still taking a lot of time to edit, but I'm getting better at that. Yeah, early episodes were an hour, and now they're just 30 minutes. I also think that this change actually improves the podcast. I'm not having these interviews anymore. We're doing a narrative, or I'm doing a narrative style editing now. Also, please tell me if you like that or not. I did the change starting episode 9 or 10.
Which podcast episode is the most downloaded or most listened to?
So that's interestingly the Journal Impact Factor episode with Björn Brems. I think that resonated a lot in the community because he's basically saying that the way we choose scientists is not a very reliable way to do it. So the Journal Impact Factor is a measure for the quality of a journal, and in the process of choosing people to get funding or special positions, this metric is it's used to. So if you have a lot of papers in journals with a high so-called journal impact factor, they think you are a better researcher.
So you would think that's still not a good measure to measure scientific merit, or to give out like how's it called, gratification to scientists.
No, I don't think it's a good measure.
Presents would be a great gratification for scientists, wouldn't they?
Presents?
Yeah, presents. Like you get on an anniversary, for example.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine, Bart. I'm the one with the anniversary.
No.
You get your anniversary in next November. Upcoming November.
You heard that, listener. You heard that. He said next November.
Well, this year, November.
Mm.
Upcoming November.
Mm.
Okay, so yeah, and I try to continue with episodes on academia and topics of general interest, like the GMO thing. So an academia episode, the GIF, the Journal Impact Factor episode, would be a typical academia-related episode, and then the GMO would be a typical topics of general interest thing. And we've been talking about science communication a lot. So I'm going to continue doing these kind of things. And you know what? There's a paper on science podcasts.
Really?
Yeah, it's by Louis E. Mackenzie.
Oh, we should put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. Together with all the other links that we will be talking about today. And a summary of what we are saying, so people don't have to listen to us. They can just read it quickly and then decide it's not interesting. Anyway, so he looked at thousands of podcasts, and he looked at
how many presents the sidekicks did get.
Yeah, that was a very low number.
What?
Anyway, so basically he was making he was just looking what's out there, how many English speaking podcasts are out there. With no surprise, it's mostly American podcasts that are in English and about science. It's like 500 and something. And then UK is second, surprise, surprise. And then miscellaneous Europe is, I think, 7. I think that would be where we would fit in. Although I don't think we fit in the actual categorization of science podcast, because we're not specialized on a science topic. but we talk all kinds of things around science and academia. Anyway, so what I found very interesting as a measure for how well we are doing, so he plotted the median lifespan of independent science podcasts, and he found that 50% of podcasts don't get more than 16 episodes.
Because they never give out presents to the sidekicks.
Yeah, that's mostly the reason. So the good news is, with our 20 episodes, we are beyond the 16, so we're doing well, I would say. And these were independent podcasts.
That's all the statistics that you have. Like, in which percentile are we? Are we like...
Oh, come on. I didn't go further than that. I'm just happy that we're above 50% after the first year. Isn't that great? I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I'm happy too.
Okay, good. So the reason why I didn't go further with that, looking at which percentile we're in, is because if you look at another group of podcasts that is affiliated podcasts, so all those shills that are paid by people to be podcasters, even though they are paid, they only 50% have more than 24 episodes. And
so if we beat them, we beat the affiliated podcasts.
Well, 50% of them really soon, which is great. I think that's also good news. It means that we are more committed than most podcasts. So the 24 episodes are also very much in reach, because I've already recorded the episodes 21 and 23, and the episodes 24 and 26 are planned. And the two episodes that I already recorded, so this is now a preview on what's coming up. The one will come out March 3rd, and it will be on alternative metrics, and it's with Steffen Lemke. Now, alternative metrics, alternative is meant as an alternative, for example, the journal impact factor that we just talked about, or the H-index, it's another citation-based matrix, meaning they look at citations to measure how good you are as a researcher. And these alternative metrics look at digital markers. So it's a combined term for a lot of different things. And what they would look at, for example, is how much are your articles talked about on social media, or on
how much presents your colleagues would give you for your work.
No, that's not in there, because that's not a digital metric.
That's kind of sad, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. But that's life, man. That's life. So that would be one. But also, I mean, if how much your work is used that you publish on GitHub, so software and stuff like that. So it's very interesting. You should be looking forward to that episode. It's the next one. And then there will be another Bart and Dennis talk after that. And then the following one would be on March 31st, which I call Sleep Faster, because it was an idea that I had when I heard Schwarzenegger give advice, success advice to young students, saying, so he was he's talking about...
Did he study?
No, I don't think so. Maybe he did. I'm not sure. Anyways, he was giving a talk to young students about success, right? And he's a successful person, so I guess it makes sense. And he was going through the day and saying, oh, yeah, so you have so much time for this and so much time for that. And he only counted 6 hours for sleep. And he said, I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I need 8 hours of sleep every night. But if that's so, just sleep faster. So and the idea is that you get 2 more hours out of the day that you can be productive. And I talked with sleep scientist Lars Dietrich, who Bart and I know from past lives. And we talk about sleep, and
He's a drummer in a band.
he was a drummer in a band. So was I for a while.
See, that's the kind of presentless friends I got.
Yeah, and we talk about sleep and what happens if you don't sleep and how sleep is regulated, these kind of things. Then there will be another about Dennis, blah, blah, blah. And then in April, on April
Blah,
28th.
blah, blah.
Yeah,
That's what we are down to.
that's
Blah,
what we
blah,
do.
blah.
It's what we're here for. And then in April 28th, there will be an episode, hopefully about the Pint of Science, which is a science communication event that happens every year. And this year it will be in May. So the episode will come out just in time to inform everybody to make plans for the Pint of Science. But this was not recorded yet. We'll see. I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself here. And then finally, there is an episode that is planned for May 26th, which is called Energiewende, which is the German term for the transition away from fossil fuels to renewables, but also out of nuclear power, which many people say is a difficult thing to do. And maybe they should not do it. But that's it. And this will be with Tanja Kneiske.
Never heard of that girl.
You never heard of her? Really?
Yeah.
I think she lives in your apartment, Bart.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to raise kids together.
So, yeah, everybody will meet Bart's wife. And I'm looking forward to having her. It will be fun.
If she gets a present and I didn't, I'm really, really, really cross with you.
So, if you have questions, remarks, or suggestions, please contact us on social media at Sci4Progress on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also email us at info@scienceforprogress.eu, or you can, if you would like to have your voice in an episode, send me a video message on Skype. My account is dennis.eckmeyer. This information, of course, you can also find in the show notes. And if you would like to support our work, please do so. We really need it. You could, for example, buy some merchandise. I uploaded a new design, of course, another tardigrade. Or you could make a direct financial contribution either through PayPal or credit card or on Patreon. We opened the member meetings that occur monthly on Discord to all Patreon tiers. What will also help us is you recommending us. Share our content on social media, subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Podcasts or wherever. Give us great ratings or write a nice review on whatever platform you're using. Also, tell all your friends and family and colleagues about us. More information you will find on our website www.scienceforprogress.eu. Follow the menu to support us and then your support. So there's news on He Jiankui. That's the guy who did the CRISPR babies. Apparently, and that was a question that we had and others also, what he did was indeed illegal in China. And the news was that I read on chemistryworld.com is that he's going to be punished by the Chinese government. The quote is that the health ministry prohibited genetic manipulation of human gametes, zygotes, and embryos for the purpose of reproduction in 2003. And another side note is that apparently there's a group at Stanford University, that worked or had contact with He, and it's unclear whether they had knowledge of his experiments. So the university, Stanford University, is investigating.
Even if they had knowledge of this, how would this actually ensue an investigation?
So if you know about somebody going to do a criminal thing and you don't stop it, I think that's in itself a criminal activity.
But I guess he didn't share knowledge like, I'm going to do that now, stop me if you can.
That's what they're trying to figure out.
Oh, okay.
If
Kind
there
of
was
weird.
Yeah, I mean, maybe maybe there's reason to assume that maybe there has been a collaboration. Okay. Another topic that came up last week was about trust in science. So somebody on Twitter said that the trust in science has become worse. I was interested in knowing how they knew that that was the case, and they shared an article with me. But what I found out was that there is exactly one time point that they did a survey on how much people trust in science and scientists. And with one time point, you cannot actually say whether things became worse or not. So that's that. So I'm not sure. I don't think that at this point we can know whether things are actually getting worse.
So if you take a long enough time scale, like let's say the 1800, it will have increased.
I think it's about recent times, like the last 2 decades or something, or simply the feeling that it's getting worse every day that people have, I assume.
Yeah, but feelings are kind of weak indicators of facts.
That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so there is a survey that was being done in Germany and Switzerland and Sweden, and in each country they asked 1,000 people about their trust in science, and I find this way of saying it very interesting because it's a clear ambivalence of people towards science that they found out about. So not only science, but also the application of research. The distrust is mostly about the motives of scientists rather than about the science itself. So
what kind of motives do you mean in that case?
So if you look at, for example, the results from Germany and you look at what people said would be the biggest problem with science, then it's the conflict of interest. So it's about who pays the funding for the work. So would the scientists be biased towards what Big Pharma wants and not what your naturopath wants?
I always thought that most science is paid in Germany by the state and by the DFG.
Well, we also have actually quite a lot industry funding in Germany.
But it's more in applied sciences, isn't it? It's more in applied sciences and not so much in fundamental sciences.
Right, but I don't think that the public makes a big difference between these things. In the same. So they do make a difference if you say, if you ask, is the researcher in academia or is the researcher in industry? Because then automatically they will assume that somebody who works for industry has a higher conflict of interest when they're producing research data. And I guess what also fits very well here that, for example, in Germany, only 17% respondents said that they would trust scientists on GMOs, so genetically modified organisms, as we had before. And that goes very much together with the anti-Monsanto sentiments that are actually very strong in the community. I guess across all of Europe, if you look at what we talked about in the episode about genetically modified food.
But is there an interdependence of the education of the people who who took the survey? So are higher educated people more likely to trust science than lower educated people?
So yes, but this seems to have been a rather small effect. So it is true that people with higher education or more education are more likely to trust science and scientists. However, the effect is smaller than you would think. So they don't trust it that much as much more. So it's not like you have 10 years more at school because you went to university, and then you trust scientists in everything. So it's the effect is much smaller than you would think.
There might also be the problem that not all kinds of distrust or criticism are wrongly placed. So I would say that a good form of criticism, and maybe if you would call it distrust, is always a good thing, because that shows that the person is thinking for himself or thinking for herself and trying to find his own or trying to make up his own mind about a topic. But it's not distrust in the scientific method. Is this taken apart in the survey? A distrust about the scientific method or a distrust about scientists?
So it appears that they do trust science in itself. The big problem appears to be what they think are the motives of the scientists when they do the research. So, as I said, it's the conflict of interest that they think is the real problem in science. But what I really think, you're right. You should go and figure out for yourself what is the truth or what is the right scientific results that you should listen to. The question is, and I'm not saying that to diminish people, but do you have the competence to read scientific papers and take the right conclusions from it if you stopped going to science class at 10th grade or something, or 12th grade?
Yeah, but to rephrase the question, I think the difference is if people would distrust the scientific method. I think that I would find really scary, because it's a distrust in facts and deduction, whereas a distrust in scientists or a single scientist wouldn't, so to speak, scare me a lot. That I can live with. If somebody wants to distrust my scientific research, fair enough. We can have a scientific discussion about it. But if he distrusts the scientific method itself, there's no way to argue.
Well, so the thing is that my impression is that, yes, everybody wants to be on the side of science, the thing, science, but people start distrusting scientists when they find something that people don't like. So this would be a form of confirmation bias, where you have a higher criticism against things that do not confirm your preconceived ideas, and you're not as critical when they confirm it. That what's happening is that people fall for their own confirmation bias, which means that they are more critical against or towards studies that show evidence that go against their preconceived beliefs, or they just don't like them, whereas they are less critical against arguments that confirm what they are already believing.
I mean, I guess this is always true, but there must have been quite some scientific encounters that were not so much beloved in the history of science. Let's say the heliocentric world or universe model.
Yes. And that was really problematic back then, right?
What I meant is, we went through this, I guess, a couple of times in the history of science. So
Yeah, but we are going. So the problem is that you have these people who are spreading doubts about topics that we need to act upon now, right? Topics that are important right now. And if you look at, I mean, climate change is the big one, but we also have problems with vaccination, which is scientific knowledge for over 100 years, and we know that it works, and yet we still have growing numbers of people who believe there's something wrong with vaccines and it makes us sick.
So do you think that social media actually plays an important role in this new criticism of science? Because one of the internet pioneers in Germany said that with the new media, suddenly everybody could write his own narrative, and everybody did. So I can now make up my own kind of facts, my alternative world build of science.
Yes, I think that is definitely a case to that. So first of all, it's easier to spread. More people see what some fringe person is saying, or hearing what one fringe person is saying. And then you have the democratization of the tools to produce media. So you can do professionally looking pseudo-documentary and put them on YouTube, and people will watch that. And if they think, and they might be convinced to think something that is unscientific. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just remember that this actually happened to me this week.
Oh,
my son came to me and said one of his classmates posted something in their WhatsApp group of their class.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about the new 5G mobile phone standard in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, what's the problem then? And he said, yeah, seemingly birds die from it. And I was pretty shocked and said, like, that sounds maybe like non-scientific ideas. I think bullshit was more the word that I used.
Right.
So he then showed me the video. And the video was from a famous German fake news site called Klagemauer TV.
Never heard of it.
If you really want to have a good laugh at some really crazy nonsense, you can have a look at them.
Okay.
Anyhow, it's totally unscientific. Nothing is proven there. It's all scaremongering. But the production value of that thing is immense. It looks like a A-level TV show.
Okay.
With like a news anchor telling these people that the 5G mobile network is going to kill all the birds in Germany. And then they have like pictures of dead birds and people going around and saying like, here, I can do whatever. And birds are going to die, people are going to die, etc., etc.
Exactly. Yeah, so this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, right? It's harder for the layperson to find the reliable information.
But it wasn't that hard. It was like first of all, I could teach my son a very helpful lesson in source criticism. Mm-hmm. So in German it's called Quellenkritik, where you just go and try to find out who said what and how reliable is this source.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us like basically 2 Google searches to find like real media reporting on this fake media site and revealing them as being fake. And that's the one thing that I don't get. Like,
but see, you did this because your immediate response to that was, "Oh, this is bullshit. This must be fake," and then you went and fact checked the site. Yeah, now, if you were somebody who was like, "Oh, I always knew that mobile phones are bad for you," and this is just another thing proving it, then maybe you don't go further and look for and fact check the site and these kind of things. And then,
Yeah, I can imagine that. But another story from last week is I've found this amazing radio host, James O'Brien, from LBC Radio, that I found immensely funny, who has a lot of like sound bits on YouTube on Brexit.
Mhm.
And after a while, after enjoying hearing him, I thought like, well, this is kind of one-sided. Maybe I should fact check that guy and fact check if like how the other side sees that problem. Luckily, there's no positive side to Brexit, so there was no big surprise there. But yeah, I was kind of proud of me that I actually double-checked something that I liked.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, but that's an additional effort that you're making, right? Not everybody does it.
yeah, but I hate to be wrong. The only way that you can avoid being wrong is like double-checking everything.
True. That's. I mean, I completely agree with that. But apparently,
What about the wrongness of not giving a gift to your co-host?
I don't agree on that.
Double check that.
Yeah. Where was I? Where was my thought, Bart? You and your presents. So, yes, you as a scientist do these kind of things. I as a scientist agree we should all do that and go with what we can say the evidence says it's true. But not everybody does that. Apparently, that's I mean, it's just the observation that I'm making. I'm not defending it. I'm not explaining it really. There are people who know that they're actually wrong, but they want it to be right, and they just keep believing it.
But do you think there are more scientific results that actually annoy people nowadays than in the last couple of years, or is this more like a sine wave thingy where, like whatever, moon landing, great, super news story, super science story, I believe science. Cigarettes are bad for your health, stupid science story, I hate science. I don't believe it anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I heard an older science communicator, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson or something, talking about what were the science news when he was young, and it was about NASA, and it was about moon landings, and it was about new technologies that are fantastic, clean power from nuclear plants, these kind of things. Industrialization, miniaturization, computers becoming faster and faster. And over the last couple of decades, you get more and more these things. Oh, now we're changing genes, and that could be dangerous. Now we are making artificial intelligence. That could be dangerous. Now they're trying to take away our cars, our combustion engines, and our coal mines, and our fossil fuels that we relied on to get the prosperity that we have. So overall, that was his impression. I only know the second part, to be honest. I only know anti-nuclear power demonstrations in the 80s up to climate change these days. But apparently, yes, the news brought to you by science has become darker and darker over the decades, according to what he said.
But one of the most beautiful examples of the opposite I've seen in Brian Blessed, an actor that you might know from Star Wars The Phantom Menace as Boss Nass, the Gungan King.
Oh.
Anyhow, Brian Blessed.
Dude, it's the Phantom Menace.
It's Star Wars, man. Anyhow,
Yeah, it's
Brian Blessed is also one of the nobility in Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. You mean the
He's the Hawkman.
1970s TV show?
No, I mean the movie, man. The movie. Flash Gordon.
The 50s? When did that come out? I don't know. Actually, the TV
Anyhow.
show was in the 50s. It was in black and white and everything, I think.
Brian Blessed is a British actor. And I didn't know him for a long time till somebody told me that he's one of the voice actors for some other animation scene that I just watched. And then I tried to figure out how Brian Blessed looked like and typed it in on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And Brian Blessed has this wonderful sound bit where he explains his most touching moment in TV history. Mm-hmm. And it's how the Cassini probe of the Huygens NASA project actually burns up in the atmosphere of Saturn. And he conveys this awe of science as a total layman to an experiment being nearly the whole solar system away. And that was fantastic. And I think there is this beautiful and breathtaking experiments actually going on in science, but also media concentrated more on the darker stories of science, where we actually have to warn the general public of climate change, of possible
measles
health
outbreaks.
Or measles outbreaks, yeah.
Yeah.
But they are still there. I think they are just less reported on.
Well, yeah, maybe if you look at the main media coverage. But then also, I mean...
We should put Brian Blessed's Saturn part into the show notes.
Okay, I will.
It's a treat for everyone.
Yeah, you should write into the show notes what his name is spelled like.
Like a blessed Brian, Brian Blessed.
Oh, okay. See, Monty Python guy. I mentioned it before. In the next episode, I will be talking with Stefan Lemke, who is a PhD student. And he's working on altmetrics, which stands for alternative metrics. And the idea is to have complementary metrics to the already existing and established ones, particularly the journal impact factor and the so-called H-index, which are both based on citation numbers. Altmetrics, on the other side, are based on digital measures such as downloads and popularity on social media, things like that. For the summary and further readings, find the show notes to this episode on www.scienceforprogress.eu. If you have questions, critique, or suggestions, get in contact by email info@scienceforprogress.eu or on social media @Sci4Progress for Twitter and Facebook, and Instagram. Science for Progress is free and accessible. However, in order to keep going and continue to improve and grow, we need your help. You find information on how to support us on our website www.scienceforprogress.eu. If you follow the menu Supporters to your support. The best way to support us is through Patreon. We are halfway to financing our monthly expenses, and it would be an enormous relief to have that covered. Check out the perks on www.patreon.com/sci4progress. My sincerest thanks to those who are already supporting us. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.